Now, I think it's safe to say that when we examine all the drama happening between Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith, all due to her new book called Worthy, that's really stirring up a lot of problems, not just because of all the revelations that came out of this book and how she's constantly on talk shows, podcasts, radio shows, over promoting her book to no end, like there's no day tomorrow, and there's also the fact that she is endlessly spewing out interviews about Will Smith and more. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, I may not be one that defends Will Smith at all. I definitely do not agree with what he did on the stage over at the Oscars against Chris Rock. There's no exception for that. But what's interesting about that, when you have Jada Pinkett Smith really creating more drama within her book and how that actually created a lot of consequences for Will Smith, this has a lot to do with a lot of studios that are now actually letting go of Will and are firing him left and right. So let's get into all of this. Now, we know that Will Smith has been going through pretty much this phase where he's trying to focus on his own life, trying to shift away from all this drama, and we already know that there is a lot of things happening day by day, tons of claims about what he's going through in his personal life, stuff like that. But what's interesting has a lot to do with many of the Hollywood studios that have recently just ditched Will Smith, not just because of the Oscars slap situation, but also due in part to all the drama that's been pretty much going on like wildfire, all because of Jada Pinkett and what she has been saying and what she actually has in her book. Now, specifically with Will Smith currently dealing with much drama due to Jada Pinkett Smith's book that tapped into revelations about himself, one major development has to do with his current status in Hollywood as new truths begin to surface. As it turns out, Disney recently finalized their call to fire Will Smith completely from two major projects that he was going to appear on Disney+. This involved a follow-up to the show Welcome to Earth documentary for National Geographic that was going to begin filming a second part of the documentary that starred Will Smith, and his previous one was going to be a brand new documentary about other aspects of the world by exploring major monuments around the globe in different countries. Now, Smith was also signed on for a new Disney animated film to do voiceover work for a film that would be released in 2026 that is now replacing him with somebody else to take up the actual role. This all comes in the wake of Jada Pinkett's book, creating so much drama from the public that made studios, and of course that many studios are beginning to view Smith as an actor who only draws away theater seats or streaming subscriptions. In addition to Disney firing Smith from multiple projects, one major studio also that finally made their call to fire him completely from all their projects involved Paramount Pictures, who was working hand-in-hand with Will on a new upcoming sci-fi thriller that was going to be announced by mid of 2024. Now, this sci-fi thriller was planned to be a mixture of I, Robot and Gemini Man, and was going to be released in theaters, where they also fired Smith from a new drama film that he was supposed to work on, where Will was taking on a villainous role unlike ever before in his acting career. Now, this was the one project that Will was reportedly very passionate about that fell apart after Paramount dropped him due to the ongoing Jada Pinkett Smith drama, along with what happened with Chris Rock on stage. Now, guys, let me say one thing about this. Now, look, a lot of the movies that Will has put out in recent times have not really met expectations. They really haven't done that well at the box office, let alone, they really have not performed very well. So we know that Will Smith has not made the best decisions in his acting career in the past number of years. I think that Gemini Man was a big miss. That's just my point on things. But the fact that Paramount was aiming to make a new sci-fi thriller that was going to be a combo of I, Robot and Gemini Man, I can only imagine this being yet another failure, to be honest. And if you just look at the streak of movies that were misses for Will Smith, you begin to realize that his career is just pretty much tarnished at this point. Now look, The fact that he did what he did on stage at the Oscars led to a lot of studios really kind of fence riding this decision for well over a year. It goes to show you that there are some studios out there that are willing to push the button and fire someone immediately, and there are others that just want to wait things out and see if the drama dies out or not. As it turns out, the drama did not die out because of Jada Pinkett Smith's book really keeping that drama alive. And we know that there's a lot of claims right now about Will Smith's life. It's not looking good in the least for him, and he's just trying to get away from all of this. And Jada is really just throwing gasoline on the fire. You know, she's really only adding fuel to the fire, and it's not helping him at all in any way. I'm not here defending Will. It may sound like I am, but I'm not. I'm just saying that what Jada is doing is wrong, and the things that she actually revealed in her book, I feel, really should remain just, you know, away from the general public. That's just my point of view on things. But moving on here, this is where things get even worse, and this is actually where it gets quite severe for Will Smith's career. Now, and finally, another studio that fired Smith was Universal, who was in the process of hiring Smith for a new animated film planned for the upcoming Nintendoverse. Universal is planning to compete against Disney instead of embracing superhero films, where they are embracing video game adaptations. And Will Smith was chosen for a new one that is to be announced next year that he was also recently fired from entirely. Now, many of these studios have also blacklisted Will, where they never want to work with him again or even have conversations about potential roles in the near or distant future in his acting career. Will, however, is desperately trying to save his career behind the scenes as we speak right now. So that's another thing about this, by the way, is that Will is really trying to reason with his agent and manager to kind of just really salvage his career, whatever's left of it, and to get any acting gig as much as possible. A lot of studios have either fired Will or blacklisted him entirely and wanting nothing to do with him ever again. And this just goes to show you that, well, his acting career, I'm not quite sure if it's going to make a rebound. I really don't. With all this stuff going on right now, and how a lot of studios really just want nothing to do with an actor that has that much negativity surrounding himself, it goes to show you that he really is willingly causing this, because as long as he's with Jada and as long as he is encouraging her to spew out all this nonsense in her book and future books, that's on him. That's his fault at the end of the day. I mean, he's literally encouraging Jada Pinkett Smith. And a lot of you guys suggested that, you know, he's stuck in this marriage because of the state of California and how, you know, he would lose so much money if he got a divorce. In my book, guys, if it's really ruining your life that much, and if this is the case, I'm not saying it is, but if it is this case where he is just miserable with her, just leave, call it a day, and just call it quits. You know, I mean, the guy's got tons of money, he has had a very successful acting career. I think what he should do is he should part ways if it's really that miserable behind the scenes. So, anyway, you know, there's a lot of things going on here, and we will continue to actually talk more about what's going on with the studios down the road, about Will's acting career, and more. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.